Oh my goodness, something amazing happened on this visit. We've never had something like this before. We were given this special honor right here. Good morning, Doggie Dojo! It's good to see you guys. I'm out here at Divine Lake Park in Leander, Texas. I'm kind of checking out the place. Tomorrow morning I'm going to be taking a group of students for a paw trek, and it's basically a public adventure walk with the dogs out here and to make sure that their dog's learning and behaving with them in public. As you can see, it's a little sprinkly, it's a little wet right now, and hopefully we don't have this type of weather tomorrow morning, but we're gonna have some fun out here. It's a very peaceful place. It looks very quiet, and so it's a really good entry-level place to take dogs and work with them in this environment. So paw trek is to boldly go where you and your dog have never gone before. It's inspired by a wonderful friend, Lauren Fox in Colorado, and she does things like this where she takes students out into public environments because it can be very difficult to train your dog in these types of environments. You know, your dog does really well at home in a nice calm environment, maybe even your backyard or even at the class you're taking, but when you take them into the real world, it gets kind of confusing, and that's because dogs' contact skills are different than people's. Like when you learn to drive and your instructor says, hey, stop at that stop sign, you'll stop at every stop sign from then on out for the most part, unless you just don't see it. But for dogs, it takes them at least 7 to 8 different times for the instructor to teach them what a stop sign means before they actually get it on their own. It's important to be aware of that. So when you're training your dog, find multiple locations and contexts that your dog can learn the skills that you want them to learn. That way they have a broad base and understanding of that behavior. It's important that you don't get mad at your dog when your dog does a great sit at home and then can't even sit in public. It's very different for the dog. It's two different areas, lots of smells and distractions, more than you can interpret with our human noses. And so it's important to try to get your dog into multiple places. And so places like this where there's not a lot of activity, it's nice and calm and peaceful, are great first time locations to take your dog to. New puppies ready to go be therapy pups? Yeah. On our way to go do a therapy dog visit with our dogs Simon and Mercy. We are going to be going to visit a hospital. Can't bring you inside, but we will let you know how it goes. And so we're on our way there right now. And they've been therapy dogs how long? Simon and Mercy, 2 years? Yeah. Simon and Mercy have been a part of Divine Canine therapy dog group. You can check them out at the link in the description below. We have been with Divine Canine for the last 2 years, and before you do any therapy dog certifications, you have to actually typically go through a canine good citizen test. That's actually what we've run into. It's not required for all therapy dog groups, but a lot of therapy dog groups will want you to get a canine good citizen first, and that's an AKC recognized test. Then once you have that, then you can usually take a course, and like we did through Divine Canine, and from there you can be part of their organization and go on therapy dog visits. And it's been a really fun experience to be able to give back to the community through our dogs and being able to give some love through their wonderful smiles and wagging of tails and getting to visit all these wonderful people. Oh my goodness, something amazing happened on this visit. We've never had something like this before. We were given this special honor right here. So we were given this wonderful gift right here. The kids at this therapy visit put together a bunch of cards and pictures to show us their love of how much they love Simon and Mercy coming, and it just was very touching. It was a super special moment. They kind of surprised us. They said, can those two dogs sit together? And we're like, why do you need that? It's like, oh, can you all just sit together? And like, okay. We kind of strangely sat down, and all of a sudden they pull out this and they show it to us, and then they read all their cards in here and show us all the pictures, and we laughed and we smiled, and I gotta admit, I probably almost cried. It was a super special moment, and so very good. So this kind of stuff right here makes it all worth it. I mean, this is just one of those things when you have life and you're given life, it's good to give back, and just being able to do something that we love, which is our dogs, and give that back to the community is super special. And Simon and Mercy are a blessing in our life, and to be able to share that is just also a blessing. So I encourage you guys, those that think about doing therapy dog training with their dogs, it's a super special thing that you can do in your life to really make people smile and warm their hearts when they're going through some hard times. Aw, puppies are tired. Yeah. Good job, puppies. Good job. Thanks guys for watching here on the Doggie Dojo. To address a previous question, the first thing I wanted you guys to focus in on was health. And let me know down below what you think is most important when it comes to dogs' health. What is most important when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to exercise, and when it comes to just regular health care overall and taking them to the vet. And so just make sure that you guys do regular annual checkups. It's just really important that your vet gets a chance to see your dog at least once a year, just to check up and make sure that your dog is all healthy. And if they get to know your dog over a span of their lifetime, if something comes up, they'll know what's normal and what's not normal when it comes to your dog. And so it's really good to build a healthy relationship with your vet and keeping them up to date on all their vaccines, and just making sure they don't get any heartworms or fleas or ticks. And so make sure you stay up to date on prevention as well, because that can become a huge problem for you down the road, and that's just not something you want to do. One of the biggest things that I think people don't really realize that can help their dog's health and longevity is actually brushing your dog's teeth and making sure to keep regular dental care for your dog. This will actually save you a lot of money down the road, and it can prevent a lot of harm to your dog in the future. So make sure you stay up to date on that, and that'll be actually something fun to do, is probably show you guys how to properly brush a dog's teeth and making sure that they stay healthy, and some tips and tricks for that as well. So if you'd be interested in that, let me know down below, leave a comment. And then when it comes to your dog's food, make sure that you give a bunch of rich ingredients that are healthy for the dog. Stick away from having a lot of fillers in your dog's diet. Finally, it's good to make sure that your dog gets regular physical exercise, and that their food that you're feeding matches that exercise. So if you have food that is rich in ingredients and it's high in protein and grain-free, your dog will need a lot of exercise to burn all that off. So if you're feeding all that to them and they're just couch potato, then it can sometimes cause some harm. So that is why it's important to also work with your vet and figure out what would be a good, solid, balanced diet for your dog, and just making sure you're keeping them healthy and happy, and that they're not eating something that's going to cause them harm in the future. So I know that this is probably a very polarizing subject, and what you should feed your dog, whether raw food or freeze-dried or air dry or kibble, all that stuff can be very polarizing. And I know everybody has different budgets for their dogs, and everyone has a different breed and setup for their dog. So just make sure that you try your best when it comes to developing a good health program with your vet, physical exercise, and nutrition that matches all that. Then that will actually keep you in good shape when it comes to keeping your dog healthy and giving them a lot of longevity in this wonderful life that you have with them.